The Russell 2000 has outperformed the Mag 7 in the past 2 months. So is more broadening ahead? Let's bring in Rich Bernstein, CEO and Chief Investment Officer of Bernstein Advisors. It's great to have you here, Rich. What are your overall thoughts on what's happening in this market? A rotation?
So, Kelly, great to be with you. Thank you for having me. I think, Tyler mentioned before about he used the horse race analogy. And I think it's time to bet on the field. Not even on the numbered horses, right? You should bet on the field here. Profits growth is broadening, as you pointed out. We've highlighted there's now over 150 companies growing earnings 25% or more. The Russell 2000, the S&P small cap index are both outperforming the Mag 7 pretty handily in the last 2 to 3 months by 15 to 20 percentage points. That makes perfect sense, right? If the field is gaining on the leaders, maybe there is a bet to be made on the field.
Maybe, okay, so one of the questions, though, Rich, I think people have is that the Russell 2000s, depending on the time frame, still don't look all that great in terms of their returns. So maybe the last few months are an exception because the Mag 7's down the way that it is. But spin this into year end. What do you think the picture looks like?
Oh, I think, Kelly, I think we're at the beginning of something here. I don't think we're at the end of something. I think that this is a natural rotation, that whenever profitability starts accelerating, which it is doing in the United States, counter to, I think, what most people believe, profitability is actually starting to accelerate. And historically, what happens is almost literally investors become comparative shoppers. They say, if everything's going to grow, why should I pay a high price for growth? That's a very normal process that appears to be what's going on, in that a broad range of cheaper, we could argue whether they're undervalued or not, cheaper assets are outperforming the expensive Mag 7.
So let me go back to something you said at the start, and that is that the idea that here is to bet the field, not the horse, or certainly not the jockey. That sounds like you're saying go into an index fund or a sector ETF. Are you? And if so, which?
Right. Well, remember, we're ETF model managers, so almost everything we do, not everything, but almost everything we do involves ETFs. But I think the story here is that most investors do not have adequate exposure to mid-cap and small-cap stocks, let alone that they would actually be overweight mid-cap and small-cap stocks. So, from my perspective, you just want exposure to that asset class. If you want to get picky within that, well, that's another story. But I think people are so underexposed to mid-cap and small-cap, and for that matter, even emerging markets, if you take out China.
And that's been getting some attention as well, kind of people advocating for that. You say, Rich, the Fed is about to cut rates as the profit cycle is accelerating, which normally, obviously, they would be raising rates when that happens. But a lot of people would take issue with the idea that the profit cycle is accelerating. So can you speak to both parts of this? And how do you think it should inform what they end up doing next week? Should they be more conservative and go just a quarter or not go at all?
Well, Kelly, I thank you for asking my opinion about what the Fed should do. I can assure you that Jay Powell is not calling me up and asking me my opinion on these type of issues. But I think, look, the Fed is going to be somewhat out of step. I think we could argue about how much, but they're going to be somewhat out of step. And that's because as profits accelerate, you tend to spur some additional employment, some additional spending in CapEx. Again, we could argue how much. And with lower rates, you may actually start stimulating housing, which, as we all know, is a very high multiplier industry. So, this kind of being out of step is kind of an interesting phenomenon. It doesn't happen very often. I think what's going to happen, my personal belief, is that added liquidity will flow into more cyclical situations because that's where the profits growth is going to be.
All right, maybe a double boost then for that area
Exactly.
of the market. Rich, thanks. Rich Bernstein, appreciate it.